Hey everybody, Mahautau here. I thought I should just hop on here and share how I build my pitch deck, the winning pitch deck. And if you want to see what am I talking about, head on over to the first video on this channel. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. We are going to start with the cover slide. The cover slide, as you can see here, shows the logo of your business, and I'd advise you guys to add your name, add a one-line description of what your business does here so that it is clear from the get-go when you talk to the judges what are you talking about. Then we head on over to the problem slide. Right. On this problem slide, I'd advise you guys firstly to include a problem statement. Right. You tell us what the problem is and what caused the problem, or what are the effects of the problem. So as you can see here, we said as food price increase, many people struggle to access affordable, quality and diverse food due to these 3 points are what we call the causes of the problem. What is the problem? People are struggling to access affordable, quality and diverse food. That's the problem we're solving for. So the causes are high cost for vendors, consumer budget constraints, and limited options. You know, so when you have limited option, it's because of how expensive they are. Then we move on over to a solution slide. Your solution must always speak to your problem. Your solution must always speak to your problem. So what we said here is that MB Food Trucks brings affordable, high quality, global street food offering fresh, diverse, and delicious meals on the go. Also on the solution slide, what you guys should do is include a statement, a solution statement, who you are. This statement tells us what your business does and how it solves the problem. Remember the problem side, we have a problem statement. Told us the problem, what is the cause of the problem, and who it affects, right? So here you tell us the solution and how you address the problem. Your solution must always speak to your problem. So we said we keeping meals affordable, we are convenient and offer mobility, and we have a diverse and exciting menu, right? This is what the business does. This is what the business does. This is what MB Food Truck is. Then we head on over to our unique selling point. Our unique selling point speaks on to the solution we offer. It speaks on the solution we offer, tells you guys how we are the right people to solve this problem. Understand? So we said MB Food Truck is redefining street food in Bloemfontein by offering a taste of the world in one spot through rotating menus, locally sourced quality ingredients, elevating everyday street food to a premium experience, and providing quick service without compromising on taste. See, so it's you need to speak, each slide must speak onto another, the previous slide. So our solution, we started off with a problem that the solution spoke to. Now the USP, our unique selling point, speaks onto the solution that solves the problem. So your slides, remember again, minimal information. Don't write an essay here. Keep it short, straight to the point. Do not write an essay because you will be doing the essay, you'll be speaking. So keep your slides entertaining, interesting. Don't throw a lot of unnecessary information there. You see, what I did is that for every slide, we have a statement and 3 bullet points. 3 bullet points which speaks to the statement. You understand? So as each slide speaks to another, the information on those slides is not too much. It's limited and straight to the point. Now we head on over to our target market. So on this slide, you tell us who your customers are. Not everyone is going to be your customer. Let's fix that. Let's get that right. Not everybody is going to be your customer. So what do you do here? You do your research. You understand your location is important and who is around that location. That will tell you who your primary customers are, you know. So for example, what we did here, you don't have to add primary, secondary. Sometimes your clients, your customers, you can easily define them, things like their age, their race, gender, all those things play a role in identifying who your customers are. It speaks to different businesses. We are not all going to have the same customers. You understand? Sometimes when you speak to sanitary pads, you're talking to women mostly. You understand? So advertising it to men does not make sense. Similar to this one, we have primary market and secondary market. So our primary market, we are located at the CBD. In this business, we are located in the CBD, Bloemfontein CBD. So who's around the CBD? It's university student, office workers, and people looking for affordable and diverse food. So these are people who are going out, on your Friday, on a Saturday. These are people who are actively going out to look for something to do, whether it's to eat or enjoy themselves. And then the secondary market, it depends, if you want to add it or if you don't want to add it. But then we said that our secondary market includes tourists and locals seeking a global street food experience. These are your one-time customers. Your secondary market are one-time customers. You understand that? These are people who will come once every year, but your primary are the people you are certain will consume your product. These are them. These are them, your daily customers. So that's that on target market. Then we have your market size. As you see, they said MB Food Truck is located in Bloemfontein CBD. Your market size speaks to how big or how large the number of customers you have. These are not necessarily only food trucks. What we did here is that we focused on the food businesses around the CBD. We focused on the food businesses around the CBD, and we said that, okay, this is how many people are there, and this is how much these people this market is worth. So how we calculate it is we use what we call the 10 SAM SOM strategy. So TAM stands for total addressable market, meaning it's this whole thing, right? If this whole circle is worth 37.1 million, it's the circle, right? Then the serviceable available market, it's this, right? The people you can reach, you know. This is your target, this is the whole thing. This is your target. This is your serviceable available market. Now, serviceable obtainable market is the little group here. It's the little group here. This helps you become realistic in solving, uh, in identifying who you're selling to, who your customers are. You can't start off saying that, oh, in our first year or in the first 5 years, we are going to do 37 million. Doesn't make sense, even if you achieve it. But when you're starting out, it does not make sense. Um, what we did is we calculated the number of people in the CBD. Then we multiplied it by how much we are going to sell our primary product. So this is called the bottom up approach. So we take the number of people, multiply by how much we're selling our product for. That gives us the total addressable market. And then from there, we start working down from the term, sell, so. So for some industries, the information is not available. But if your industry, the information is available, you can easily figure out what is the market size and how much the market size is and where you are there. You can easily find your spot in those industries where the information is easily available. So let's assume that you you want to open up a food truck next to a school, but there's no clear competition, then the next competition is like the mall over. You understand? So what you can do is, what I'm advising is that you check the number of students there. Let's say there's 10,000 students. Then you multiply it by however much you are selling your product for. That will give you the total addressable market. Then you check, let's say you're located next to a gate, how many kids walk past here every day. That is your serviceable available market, and how many students interact with you when you are there. That is your serviceable obtainable market. You understand? So yeah, you can adjust it however, whatever works for you. Sometimes you guys know the numbers from head, but if it's not there, this is the best way to do it. So in the next videos, I will chop each slide up, do a 5 minutes recap and explain everything down. Then we move over to the competition. Everybody has competition. Let's start there. Everybody has competition. Our food truck. Our food truck is not just, we don't look at just food trucks. The restaurant, the KFC, the McDonald's, and so forth, those guys are competition because they can take your customers away from them, from you, and you can take theirs, So that is your competition. So you look at the area or the niche. You understand? So what gives us a competitive edge is that we have rotating menus every week, every weekend. We are competitive in both quality and value. We are conveniently available on weekends. So these are the things we're focusing on: excitement, the vibes, with that kind of food truck. But we understand that you have your McDonald's, you have your KFC, you have Mam Sondo's tuck shop that sells the best quarters in town. You have those things. Those people are your competition. Just because you're isolated does not mean you don't have competition. If I can move away from where I live, pay the taxi fare, go to town, and buy that McDonald's while leaving you in my township, that is your competition. Those guys are your competition. So everybody has competition. You must just differentiate how you stand out, and what makes you unique. So let's head on over to the cost structure, our cost slide. This slide is very important. Now we start getting into the technical part of the pitch deck, as I call it, where things are being scrutinized. We're looking at details, details, details. Your cost structure. These are your costs. For businesses that are still in the idea phase, you do those calculations, you figure out how much you are going to need to start, right? This is the total fixed cost. This is how much we need to start. But for businesses that are already existing, it's much easier because you know the costs. Same format, you put them there. You're not guessing. It's not a guessing game anymore. You know what you need and how much it costs. Don't go month for month for the whole year. Simplify it to the whole year. You understand? Then during your questions, that's when they would ask, oh, how much does it cost per month? Leave room for questions, but be clear here. This is how much we need for us to start. I'd advise you that start with your minimum viable product. For us, we just need a small anyana, a food truck, and this and that. We don't need heaven and earth yet. We'll get there with sales and all those things. But what we need here is to help us get started. So for business that are in the idea, you're asking for help me start. But for business that are already existing, what you're saying is that help me move on to the next stage. Help me move from point A to point B. That's what you're doing. So you're not saying move me from point A to point Z. No, it's A, B, just like that. Then we head on over to our revenue slide. What are you offering? How much are you selling it for? This is where you convince the judges that, hey, those costs, this is how I can pay them back. We need X amount, we'll pay it this way. This is where your revenue model is. So we offer three meal types: South African, Mediterranean, and Mexican inspired meals. You know, if you are selling a lot of products, focus on the products or product that makes you money. Many services, the service that makes you money. You understand? So you work from that. Do not include a laundry list of all the products you're selling, your 440 can, your this and that. No, focus on the one that makes you money, the one that pulls people to you. So if like if you have a tuck shop in the township, if a quart of scambani is what sells, include it here. Sometimes it might be three products: it's a bunny chow, it's a quarter, and scope and dog. Include three, limit it to three, so that it's easier for the judges when they're looking to say, oh, okay, no, this makes sense. But when you have a laundry list, it's confusing. It's confusing. So what I did as well is that I included the price, so that the maths can be there. They can do a quick maths. Okay, we add on markup. Tell them how you are going to make money. You boost your confidence, the confidence for the judge's confidence. Okay, no, he knows what he's doing, and this is the right horse to back. I also included the break-even point. Sometimes it's not necessary. This is additional information that nudges you in the right direction. So after explaining that we sell three types of meal for this amount, and this how much we're making on top of that amount, what we do is that what I did was that I included the break-even point, telling them that if I sell 1,460 meals over 12 months, I will pay back the money I'm asking for. So on average, we need to sell 26 meals per weekend. 26 meals per weekend. So it shows that you understand your business, you understand what it takes to get to the next level. So it's important that you add information that you think will push you in the direction where the judges can say, hey, this is the right business to back. If you understand. Let's head on over to the ask or projection slide. Firstly, what I'd suggest is that if you have a lot of your projections and all those things, keep them simple. If you want to add a graph, that's fine. That's fine for business that are existing and those who are starting out. That is fine. So when you do that, separate. You have a projection slide and an ask slide. But here, for the sake of time and the video, I decided to make them one thing. Let's start with the funding required, right? Remember, I needed 68,000 for the cost for my fixed cost, and this is how much I need to get started. We require funding of 70,000 for what? It's how much, why, and when. How much do you need? What is it for? And when will you be able to pay it back? I need 70,000 to cover our fixed costs. There's the why, then the when will break even in 1 year. Additional calculation, not necessary if you already have it in your revenue slide. I show them we sell it for 1,360 meals for $50 will make us 68,000. Profitability as well. When you're on your projection and ask slide, when money is involved, when will you become profitable? When will you start making profit? Because remember, in our first year, we said that we are going to break even, meaning that we're going to pay back the money, we asked for. Then profitability in our second year. How will you be profitable? These are the information that most people miss out on. That you may have a great pitch, but hey, we don't trust you. This is how you gain the trust back. How will you be profitable? We add a second location, right? We've made money from location one, which is the CBD. We may move to the areas around universities, literally there, not where there's not the rest is in the CBD, but to the universities. That's the second location, and it will help us increase sales. That is how we will become profitable. And also another way of becoming profitable is by participating in farmers market and special events around town. Speak to what your profitability means to you. How will you be profitable? It differs from industry to industry, but then using the example of the food truck, this is what we got. Then the team slide. The team slide is, you know, is very important because it tells us who's in the team, what do they do, you know, and what makes them the right people to to be in this business, or why we should back the business. That's all good. We see the idea and all that, but who is in your team? Who is in your team? As you can see here, we have fictitious characters. We have Max Mahlangu and Bridget Balo. We listed what their qualifications: BM graduate, 25 years, 2 years work experience, and 1 year culinary experience. We're speaking about Mediterranean, Mexican. We need somebody who knows what they're doing. So these are the kind of things that you should include in your team slide. Hospitality graduate, Bridget, 24 years, 2 years culinary experience. This is how you complement. When you're talking about your team, that's how you complement one another. You see, Max, we know that he's going to deal with the administration part of the business. Then the person who will be working on the food and all those things, the menus and all that, is Bridget. You understand? So the roles are clearly defined. And if you're a solopreneur, you have an idea on existing business as well, speak nice about yourself. Tell us what you do, what role you're playing, all those things, your qualities and all that. But limit them to 4 or 5 slides, 4 or 5 bullet points. Check out the previous video to see how I did it in my pitch for my business. Teach me up. So yeah, small nyana plug there. I'll drop the link for our website. But yeah, if you're like me, a solopreneur, poster yourself. Tell us, chief. Sell yourself to us so that we know that no, this is the right guy to back. And then the final slide, the thank you slide. It's important to have a thank you slide because this is where you can add additional information, reach us on this and that. As you can see, I added our social media. Remember, guys, this is a fictitious business. It does not exist. But yeah, this is our thank you slide. It has all our information. This is where you end. When you're being questioned, this is where the last slide is going. Like, you're going to be standing behind it. People can easily reach you. Follow you. Sometimes that helps. Getting a few followers, this and that does help. So remember, um, when we wrap it up, here are a few tips. Keep it short, keep it lean, straight to the point. Don't tell us a story. No, no, no. This is what we do. This is how we solve it. Keep it lean. And then make sure your finances make sense. What you're asking for, show how you can pay it back. It's simple as that. When it comes to your slides, a pitch deck, keep it simple, guys. And then, yeah, I think in the next videos, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comment section and I'll make sure to get back to you guys. But I'll be releasing a couple of videos explaining each slide in detail this time. But this is just an overview of how I structured my pitch deck and the kind of information that goes into your pitch deck. So I hope this was helpful. Good luck to the class of 2025. You guys who've entered, I wish you all the best in your internal, regional, and finals. Remember, at the end of the day, it's a competition. Good luck to you guys, and whoever wins, yeah. Bye bye, everybody. See you on the next ones.